see right now, without LeBron, Lakers are struggling.
Let me tell you about a team I hate, all right? I know the Dallas Cowboy fan is here, so I had to make sure he knew how much I hate this team.
I'm ready.
I've often said that the people who run baseball, they try very hard to ruin it.
I'm from Brooklyn. I don't have a problem saying it to his face.
Oh, from Brooklyn.
Hey, get us any.
This is a presentation of Northeast Streaming Sports.
What's up, everybody? It's another episode of Coast to Coast. I am your host, Pags. I got Bo with me. Stat Guy has got a house full of hospitalies, and we didn't hear from McLovin today, so we don't know if he'll show up or not. What's going on?
Tuesday we got the national champs, and of course we might as well kick it off. You were at Raw, right? So
I was at Raw. Let's go right. I wish I could show the film. I didn't have enough time to show the film, but I did have enough time to put together the outfit. I went yesterday to Raw as old school Animal from either the Legion of Doom or the Road Warriors, and that was what I came up with. You could see, obviously, I am on the left. I don't have the body that shows me on the right like that. And I think I did a pretty good job, actually. That was, his mohawk's a little bit thicker than mine, so, I had to deal with that. And I didn't think that they would let the spikes into the arena.
Well, especially if you would have ordered them off a Wish, they could have been some interesting spikes.
Exactly. So I wasn't going to play that. Obviously, I did have the shoulder pads, and I just had to change them from white to black. And there you have it. That was me. So,
right on. And how was the experience?
It was fun. It was fun. Obviously, I'm a little dated to this, so it's not the same as somebody who would be a rabid fan, which would be much better if I was. There were people that I did what I did, and initially I was right there in the front row with, like literally, a hand's reach away from Cody Rhodes, a hand reach away from The Rock. I stayed there for a little while because I was really in a spot where there wasn't supposed to be anybody because there wasn't a seat. And after about an hour, they're like, you got to get to your seat, buddy. And I'm like, what do you mean? This is my seat. Yeah, it wasn't cutting it. So, but at that point, it was already a little bit past me. Once we got past like Cody Rhodes and The Rock, and the Intercontinental, and they kept showing video from the previous nights, and it was kind of cool to see some of the hoopla, but it was definitely less than what I assume WrestleMania was.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? It's like everybody is sitting there watching what's going to happen, like in the ring. Like, The Rock and Cody Rhodes talked for like 45 minutes. And it's like, oh, yeah, and then The Rock gave something to Cody Rhodes. It says, "Don't break my heart again." And nobody saw what was in his hands. I had people texting me, goes, "What did The Rock give Cody?" And I'm like, I have no idea. I couldn't see any of that.
Nothing.
Yeah, of course. So it was just like, okay. He probably had like a dice in his hand just so that he could, it's like you got to transfer something from one hand to another. But ultimately, that's part of the story. You know what I mean? Because that's what it is. All it is setting up what the next story is. The Rock asked to hold the World Championship belt, and Cody Rhodes asked to hold the People's Champions belt. And, it was like 45 minutes of 5 minutes conversation.
Yeah.
It was just like a lot of hoopla. John Cena was there. John Cena did show. He wrestled for a whole 7 seconds. I mean, it literally was, and you knew that was what it was going to be. You heard John Cena was going to be there, and blah blah blah. And it was like, okay, we're going to have a 3-man tag team match, but there's only two of us here. You don't get to see who that third person's going to be. I wonder who it could be.
Yeah.
Oh my Lord, what a surprise. John Cena, after the match is almost lost, comes in and wins it for
Sure.
the.
I mean, he didn't even have to actually be there. You just be like, we couldn't see him.
But that's what it was. Quite literally, he came out there 7 seconds, did his, whole, to all the sides of the arena and then rolled. You know what I mean? So that was, the Intercontinental champ who won against the guy who had it for 150 years. Had a tag team match with somebody else. At that moment, then they had the girls come out. These two girls come out, and it literally the match was 3 seconds. Like I heard the guy say, "Well, this match is over." Next thing you know, the girl was pinned. I was like, "Damn!" Like that was nothing. And I'm like, "All right."
Well, they took too much time talking, so they had to get through the action real quick.
Speed up some of these matches. So ultimately, I did not stay for the 4-man match. I wanted to get out of the traffic. I was just like, I'm not going to sit in traffic. I'm not going to stay here for an extra 2 hours with wrestling people. Not that I have anything against wrestling people. I just wasn't for me.
Yeah.
So, but it was fun. It was a good time. People, it's funny because I of course I went as Animal, but it had been a minute since I had seen anything. People are coming up to me and go, "Oh, what a rush!" And I was like, "Well, that's something simple for me to do. I would have never have thought that without anybody else reminding me." And moment somebody said it to me, I knew it right away.
Sure.
Yes, I know Ricochet was in the main event there, and that was that 4-man tag team or 4-man,
Whatever.
mini royale type of thing. I didn't, like I said, I didn't stay for that part. I just wasn't gonna fight traffic and anything. I wanted to be able to get home before everybody else, and it was good that I did because I played our local Pennsylvania machine and hit for $600. So
Hey,
I
there you go.
it was a winning night all the way around for me.
No, it pays for the whole night. That's a good deal.
But I also it was also, yeah, that was it. It was who won the match? I'm sure Ricochet did not win, which would have been cool if he did because I have the video of him, from the other day. But I figure I was told his stock is going down with every other people's going up. So I don't know if that's okay. Perfect. You know what? I'm glad he showed up because I told somebody he was going to show up, and the guy's like, "Man, if he really does show up, I'm saying that you said it first." I'm like, "Yep." And CM Punk was there. I didn't even know that either. So that's all right. The Undertaker was cool. Doing that stuff. I mean, that's like showing up at WrestleMania. Like that's what happens. Like that's why everybody, like all those Hall of Famers, do their thing. And I'd say he's still in really good shape, The Undertaker, for somebody who's like 60 years old, 60 some years old. That man could still go in the ring and play. You know what I mean? So. Yeah, See, somebody's always screwing somebody else. But everybody's got a different favorite wrestler. I mean, one of the things that I was paying attention to in the midst of all the things that were happening, they were showing like WWE moments in history and things like that. And because you say Brock Lesnar is in like 7 or 8 of the top 30 moments of WrestleMania. So he was definitely one of the guys that really helped wrestling, helped the WWE for a little while. And all that guy was a beast and a nut job. So,
Yeah.
right, but obviously he was good at what he did. You know what I mean? And the one thing is that when he needed to lose, he lost. Because that's the one thing that you're kind of afraid of with guys that are nut jobs. Are they going to do what they asked us to, or is this something different? So, but he was able to lose a couple of times, and that was always. That's what I said. That was why he probably had 7 of the top 30 moments, because anytime he lost, it was a very, very, very big deal.
Yeah,
So,
that makes sense.
But so yeah, I mean, it was kind of cool. It was fun to be a part of and to be there. And like I said, there was a lot more people that recognized me. All the old school people recognized me. Anybody who was like old school wrestling, they're like Animal. Because one guy comes up to me and goes, "Oh, what's up, Hawk?" And I'm like, "Nope, I'm Animal. I got the mohawk." He's like, "Damn, I thought Mohawk. I had the Hawk had the mohawk. All right, I got it. What a rush." You know what I mean? And that was kind of fun. And then to see Pat McAfee there, and watching how how he kind of energizes a crowd and stuff. It was kind of fun. But I tell you, when I did my video, the video like right by the ring, I literally, like I said, I walked up to the ring. I'm like, you mind if I just make a video real fast? Everybody was super excited about it. You know what I mean? Like you could hear it in the background where everybody's like, yeah, Philly sports guy. And like they knew, because they know my stuff so well.
Sure.
But there was enough people there that weren't from Philly. Like there were a ton of people there that were from DC. And I'm standing there, and where I'm at is literally like 8 to 10 people all coming from DC. They've done this before. They know exactly where to stand and where to get their seats at, because they want to be right up against the wall. And here it is, I've cheated. You know what I mean? I'm kneeling in a spot where there's a space because they didn't put a seat there.
Oh,
so I'm like, all right, I literally cheat. And then they find out that I'm the Philly sports guy. I'm like, you're him? Man, and you're a wrestling fan too. They got all excited about it. I have now I think I have like 8 to 10 new followers from DC, because they know me from going to the Eagles games, and they know me from all the memes and stuff like that. You know what I mean? But the fact that I was there at wrestling, painted up as Hawk, and when I showed them the picture, when you put that picture, like I said, when you see this picture, I mean, I did this freehand.
Yeah, no, that's solid.
Yeah, I mean, I was like, all right, I had the colors already, so it was just a matter of doing it. And I didn't, like I said, I wasn't going to try to paint my shoulder pads and make that all kind of crazy in enough time.
Yeah.
But that actually, like I said, when you did it, I was like, that's actually pretty good. I mean, his is a little bit more sleek, but, for something pretty quick and never doing it and not being an artist at all. Yeah, I mean, I'm not an artist, not even a little bit. So doing that type of stuff was a little different, trying to trace it out and just literally hoping my hand does what I want it to do. Because it's when the moment you erase one time on your face, it changes the way the pencil works on your face then.
Sure. Yeah,
so it's no longer smooth. Like it's like a ballpoint pen before anything happens. The moment you erase, now it's like driving a car on a road with a bunch of potholes, because it starts to catch and it starts to do different things. So, I mean, I could probably teach a class on face painting at this point. Not that I'm planning on it, but
no, I've done a fair amount of it. But for me, it's Halloween. Like Halloween's my jam. I basically would make the house a haunted house, like full on animatronic stuff, and I'd be painted up. So
that's awesome. That's awesome. See, I'm a big Halloween fan, so that's my birthday. So I make that do that way. Yes, I would go back. I would want to be a little bit more in tune with what's happening, like that was the hardest part, trying to get all of my wrestling knowledge in yesterday's show to be able to do enough for that. Now that's not so. See, I only did that one time, and it was tough. That was a 3-hour project. Uh, but ultimately, so what he's talking about is a couple years ago. So I used to do, you know, the 30 days of face paint for autism awareness, and every day I would paint my face in a different Philly sports guy and whatever Philly sports team. And on April 2nd, it was is Autism Awareness Day, World Autism Day.
Mhm.
And instead of doing any one color, I did puzzle pieces on my head that fit like, it was in my style, but it definitely was like puzzle pieces and stuff like that. And I included all of the sports teams in
Right.
it. And that took 3 hours to do. Um,
That makes sense.
yeah, just because it's not something that I normally do. So how do I do this? And then how do I incorporate, like, because Villanova at the time was in the Final Four. So like it was like, let's include them in the mix. And blue, of course, is the color of autism in the first place. So I mean, it was, but I did that kind of stuff. So
Oh yeah.
yeah, Brad, I saw a little bit of that. I obviously, as I was walking out, it was 5-3, and Soto had a 1-2-3 ninth, didn't let a run up, and that's awesome. You know what I mean? So he's still got an ERA of 0. So
Wow.
what I did not check, and I am going to check right now because I want to make sure that I have the perfect conversation here with my buddy, so that I don't say something the wrong way.
It didn't go
But
well.
it didn't go well.
Didn't go well. We are a half a game ahead of the A's, which is not awesome, and we are the only team in Major League Baseball to not have a 6 or more run game. So we're doing well. My 78 win prediction, man, almost feels aggressive.
4-7.
4-7.
4-7. Last time I checked, the Phillies were 5-5, right? I think that was correct.
I didn't look this morning.
Yeah, I think that we are 5-5. And let's see all the runs that you guys have scored. You guys have scored 5 runs twice.
Twice. Yep.
Yeah. Good work. Yeah.
Yep.
4, 1, 4, 1, 5, 2, 0, 5, 5. So 3 times. 3 times you've scored 5 runs.
Yeah, unfortunately, a lot like last year. If we didn't score at least 5 runs, we lost. If we scored 4, we lost every time. Like it was, but it's the thing I worried about coming into this season is our roster hasn't gotten better over the last 2 off seasons, and so we get into the playoffs 2 years ago now. We beat Toronto, awesome. Then that off season we start. We don't really do anything, but other teams in our division got better, right? Everybody else added pieces. We basically stayed pat. Then so far this offseason, we trimmed players out. I really thought that we were going to, make a splash play, not necessarily a high dollar one, because that's not what the Mariners do. But I thought they were going to go after somebody with the players they were letting go. And instead they're like, yeah, cool, we're bored. I guess that's what we're doing. And so that's why I haven't been real optimistic about where this season is going to go, is because all we did was trim some players out, didn't really add anything. We have okay pitching, but that's it, right? And we're in a division where everybody again is better. So yeah, I don't know. I don't feel super optimistic. Now, I think we're going to play better than we currently are. I don't think we're going to finish with the A's, right? But I still think we're going to be, kind of that 78 win type of team.
Wow, Rojas went 3 for 4 yesterday. How about that? It's actually not so bad. Total
Rob,
bases. He had 4 total bases.
see,
So.
here's the thing. Like, because I've been a Mariners fan my whole life. This is the trajectory our Mariners take all the time. Is we play well in spring training, right? It builds some hope. And then April comes along, they forget how to play baseball, right? And then they slowly build, they kind of climb back into the mix, and then the All-Star break comes, and they forget how to play baseball for 3 weeks after the All-Star break. And then they really go on a tear, and sometimes even grab the lead of the division, and then they get ice cold until they're just about mathematically out. And then they'll go back on a heater and miss the playoffs by 1 to 5 games. Like that's the routine that the Mariners do almost every year for the last 20 plus years. It's but like we were talking about before, that winning isn't really what the Mariners are about. The ownership group is keeping people in the stands, which means you have to be competitive, but not necessarily win.
Yeah, you haven't played tougher games than teams in the Phillies. The Red Sox stink. They just happen to be playing okay in the beginning of April. The Toronto Blue Jays were having a tough time winning games. They had the same record as you guys did, and you guys pooped the bed. So, I mean, say what you'd like. You know what I mean? That's okay. Cleveland is Cleveland. Come on now. Let's face it. Win a series before you even start talking to me. Okay, there, Robert. You got to win a series.
I mean, collective. If you put all our wins together, it was enough wins to win a series.
Barely. But the fact that the A's have so far averaged, I think that they are on pace to have 64,000 errors this year. Yeah, which would break their record of 62,000 from last year, I think.
Right.
So, I mean,
they're 3-7. I believe they're a half a game behind us.
A half a game, and that says a lot for you guys.
No, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Is it's not a great start. Not that historically the M's start well in April. They just don't. But I don't think they're going to be that much of a basement dweller where they're down there where the A's are, or the White Sox look like they're going to be a dumpster fire this year. I don't think they're going to be quite that bad. I think they're going to be a just slightly sub 500 team. So but they'll have moments. And that's the hardest part about the Mariners is they always have moments where you're like, okay, here we go. They're starting to figure out, how to make this thing work. The pitching starts to come on, the bats start to heat up. And then as soon as you're like, okay, a couple more wins, we could really start to walk away with this thing. And then they're like, yeah, we don't really want to do that. There's a lot of pressure in the postseason.
Exactly. As I said, all right. Yeah, it was funny because I was sitting here, I was looking, I heard at one point that the Detroit Tigers were the last team left undefeated, and then since then they've lost 4 games.
Ooh.
2 of which to the Athletics. So that kind of says enough on Detroit. But it always amazes me who's leading the standings at the very beginning of a season. The Yankees, as expected. This is, the Soto's there now, and he's got a full year, and they got everybody hitting the ball. They're playing Sister Mary of the Blind, I figure, is who they're the Marlins, which is, so let's see who they've had so far. They played the Astros and swept them, which was nice. Then they played the Diamondbacks and beat them 2 out of 3. And then now they got the Blue Jays, which they lost that series. So,
yeah, the Astros are also off to a rough start.
Does that say they lost that series? No, they won that series. My bad.
Yeah, the Astros and the Mariners actually have the same record.
Right. Yeah. So, but then you have the Cleveland Guardians, which are 8-2.
Yep.
Which beat Seattle. You know what I mean? Because they are Cleveland. But right now, I mean, obviously, you have the Atlanta Braves at 6-3, the Phillies at 5-5, the Mets and the Nationals both at 4-6, and the Marlins at 1-10. And then in the Central, And I love it. I love Pittsburgh for this because they are so good in April and May.
Yes.
And then they forget what it's like to play baseball. And it's such a gorgeous stadium. I wish that the ownership there would actually spend a little bit of money on their team because it really is like I would love Pittsburgh to be good at baseball. It would make those trips a lot more fun out there. They have a great stadium out there. Like they've got pool tables in the stadium. You can go shoot pool while you're watching a baseball game. It's kind of cool.
Well, you know why that is, because they historically aren't very good. You need something else to do.
Exactly. That's part of the purpose there. But they are right now 9-2.
Yeah. No, they've been killing it to start the year.
And then you have the Dodgers at 9-4. So obviously it's a very, very early to work out the wild card. But if the season ended today, the Phillies would be no bueno in the playoffs.
Yeah, no, I mean it's way too early to talk about anything, really. I mean,
1/16 of the season is over.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah, no, like there's nothing, no useful conversation when we're about postseason play based on records right now.
Right, but what is pertinent is my pizza. My pizza, you might as well just put it in the oven now. It'll be nice and crispy by the time the season is over.
Dust by the time the season is over.
Yeah, I was going to say it'll be a Ritz cracker by the time we're done. A very burnt Ritz cracker. Yeah, all right, there you go. There you go. Since he's not even on your side right now, that's it.
I'm still wearing my gear. I'm still rooting for my team. I'm just not pretending like they're going to be awesome.
Right, because he knows they are going to suck.
No, because I've been watching the roster moves, and when you're watching the moves that we made versus, and I'm not even talking about the rest of the league. I'm just talking about our division. It's like, man, our roster is the fourth best roster in our division. That doesn't make me feel good. Like that doesn't inspire a lot of confidence. Now that being said, I'm always down to go get wings. So, hey.
Definitely. You could, and just so that you know, because it may be already done by August 2nd, you could buy me the pizza while I'm there. Just if you want to concede the bet at that point.
It'll depend. The thing is at that point in the season, they won't be out of it. That's where the M's start to heat up. So they won't actually be out of it. It'll be interesting then. Like you'll actually have to wait because that's how frustrating the Mariners are just historically is when you're at that point in the season, you're like, okay, here we go. They're on a heater. We're going to make a run at this thing. And then it's right after that they, the wheels come off.
Yeah. I want to see how good J-Rod has been doing. So he's going to be your guy. You
could legitimately, based on the time of the year that you guys are playing us, you could come to Seattle and lose those games. Historically.
Wow. Yeah, he's batting 186 right now. So that's going to change. There's
no way he's going to bat that bad all season.
Out of 43 at bats, he's got 8 hits.
Yeah.
So it's like he's definitely, and he's going to be the reason why your team does anything. So
yeah, I mean, there's no way he's going to be that bad all year.
No, I got to imagine this is just like anything else. He's got to heat up. You know what I mean?
Yep.
He probably also is one of those guys that does not like to play in cold weather. And not that you guys are playing in cold weather locations, but I mean, let's see.
The thing that's funny
at Brewers, at Blue Jays, it's cold. Even though it's in the dome, it's still cold.
Well, and the thing that's funny here is it's been cold. Like it's been cold here. And you do get some wind that swirls around in that stadium. So, I mean, it can be cold in the stadium.
So I can believe that. You know what I mean? When your guys are out there wearing long sleeves, it's cold.
Yeah.
They don't like wearing long sleeves. This is baseball.
Exactly.
Yeah, and it's It's baseball.
So,
It's
so
supposed it's
this
a
right
warm
here,
weather sport.
only 2 guys on the team hitting over 200. Last season we had 4 different designated hitters, right, that were on the roster, and none of them were hitting over 200 for most of the season. And I feel like as a designated hitter, there's one thing you're supposed to be good at because you don't have to do anything else, right? You got one job. That's to hit the damn ball. I feel like that's the one thing you should probably excel at. I mean, you're not the weatherman. You can't just be wrong and keep your job. Like if you are all terrible at hitting the ball, why are you a designated hitter?
Well, I don't know.
Nothing else.
I have a guy on my team who bats 185 as a designated hitter. Hits 40 home runs, mind you.
Crowd the plate. Get beamed. Take one for the team. I want to see this on base percentage.
Yeah, well, he gets walked a lot too.
It's great if you can hit dingers, but give me some small ball when you have to be able to put up 5 or 6 runs to win, right? Like a home run's great, but we need guys on base, whether somebody's hitting a home run or not.
Yeah, and especially when your guy is the leadoff hitter.
Yeah,
but there you go. It's the balls.
Well, so all things being equal, our stadium is harder to get the ball out of the stadium. It's a big field, so I'll give them that. But even still, everyone else is hitting too. So it's not like it's unique to the Mariners. Everyone else playing in the stadium.
Right. You guys are going to have to leave a message. I'm getting my phone is ringing off the hook today. I'm a popular guy, I guess. See, you become animal. Next thing you know is everybody wants to say hello. But anyways, so there we go. Bam. All right, let's get rid of that. So yeah, that all being said, do I expect Seattle to have even over 80 wins? No. Hence why I think I want my pizza with gold flakes.
Yeah, no,
and mushrooms and gold flakes.
Yeah, I feel like 500 is going to be a stretch for this team. I think they're going to be close. I mean, every time I watch them play, I'm like, I feel better about my 78, which bums me out because I want to be wrong. Like that's one of those predictions that I'm like, oh, if I could just be wildly inaccurate on this, it'd be awesome. The right direction. Like I don't want them to go out there and put up 60 wins either. So let me clarify. But it would be awesome if they came out with a 90 win season. I'd be about it.
Did any of you catch the eclipse yesterday?
No, we live in Seattle, so we didn't even see a partial because we have this liquid sunshine falling from the sky. And so anything in outer space, we can't see.
So there you go. All right, I understand that. So right when all of this occurred yesterday was exactly when the clouds came. That was literally the case. So
all right, so you might be seeing gold on you might be seeing gold on your pizza anyway, depending on the mushrooms he puts on there.
Hey, listen, I'm okay with that.
It's
as long as they're fresh. As long as they're fresh, I want fresh mushrooms. Not I don't want it to taste like painted ass. Which I know some of those mushrooms do. I've had them before. Not to say anything, not to keep this as PG-13.
Yeah, that's right.
So I am actually trying to upload some of the pictures that I took of yesterday's So I can kind of show you a little bit about what it was that we saw for the moments of time that the clouds were away. And I tell you, there wasn't many of them. You know, it was literally, you didn't need the glasses where we were specifically because the clouds were in the way. When it came out, like out of the clouds for that half a second, um, it wasn't bad. Like you could, like you couldn't look at it right then and there. But yeah, so I did get to see some of it, which was nice.
Mhm.
If I
Yeah,
can
some of
pull
the
them up
pictures
here.
people got are pretty awesome. If you saw the video, I wish I would have saved it because it was actually very cool. Is they showed the eclipse from an airplane.
That had been cool.
It was pretty amazing because you watched the shadow come across the clouds that were below them, and then you could see everywhere around the shadow was lit up still, and then of course you watch the sun, go into totality, and then you watched it move on from it. It's like, oh man, that was a pretty amazing viewpoint of it.
Yeah, I'm gonna just download a couple of the ones that show the totality as best as possible. What we got here. I mean, that was the hard part about doing this here. Like it was like I was able to catch it in a couple of different states. Not in different states, like different parts of the country. I'm talking about literally.
Yeah, of the path through it. I
Right.
got what you meant. Yeah.
So, but we only had it at 90% here, which was still pretty good.
Yeah, here in the Northwest, had we been able to see it, we weren't getting much of it anyway. Like we were a long way from, because the path went from Texas through New York, right? So
Right. Yeah. So where you were at, where if you are following your meridian, I guess over down there, it was in Killington, Vermont,
oh, okay.
where you guys would have finally been able to catch it some.
Yeah, like it
Um,
was, and it was. We were only going to catch like a slight edge of it. We weren't going to see much of it anyway.
Right. But it's the
No,
cool thing about this is that I was able to take this directly with my phone. So it was kind of
okay.
cool in the fact that
Oh, okay.
yeah, and that's obviously through the clouds that
Yep.
you're able to kind of see that. And
That's
you can
pretty
see, I mean, that's really a lot of dark cover, but you can kind of see it. And then that was at the moment of the total. That
Yeah.
was the total eclipse of the sun that I got from where I was, which was nice. The last time I was there, I was down in Huntsville, Alabama, and it wasn't as cool then.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, again, I got 90%, but it was so bright. Like you didn't even get to see the moon come. Like, is this what's going on? Like, this is happening right
Oh,
now. It got dusk, but it was like I'm like there was like still like 80%, and it looked like it was still bright.
yeah.
So, and I don't know. And then they say that all these animals are going to do crazy things, blah blah blah. Yeah, the
Yeah.
animals don't do
Yeah. The world's
nothing.
going to end and all of that. Yeah.
Yeah,
You know, just
exactly.
drinking popcorn, waiting, right?
Yeah, no earthquakes or anything like that. The earthquakes got it earlier, so nice. There you go. So I did see one from like Neil deGrasse did a whole one from space, and I was like, okay, yeah, that's cool. That's
Mhm.
that's a good one. That's a great picture. I'll claim that as my own. I'm gonna tell my kids that I was the one that took that picture.
Yeah, there was a pretty cool one that was, I believe it was from a satellite or something, and you could watch the shadow move across the planet. I was like, that's pretty cool. That's a neat view.
Yeah. What was the other? I mean, first off, the fact that they were having these monster parties was like, really? Like, come on. Like, I don't remember such a big hoopla happening in 2018.
So yeah, I mean, it was just on the West Coast because that's where it was really close for us to see it. Because the main part of totality for that one went through Oregon, and I originally was going to go down there, But then when I was seeing the traffic it was gonna take to get there, I was like, yeah, never mind. Good. Because it's gonna take me basically it looked like it was gonna take me about 8 hours to drive about 4.5 hours. And I was like, I don't have that in me, because that means I'm gonna watch this for 4 minutes and then jump right back in that traffic, because you couldn't, all the hotels were rented, everything, right? So I mean, there was a ton of excitement about it, but it was just like, okay, so it's gonna take me 8 hours to drive because of how slow everything's gonna be. I'm gonna have a hard time finding a spot to set up, be there for 4 minutes of action, and then do all that to go home. I was like,
I don't like Oregon that much.
Yeah, maybe I'll just go back to work. It's fine.
Or better yet, I'll just take the rest of the day off and say that I was there and steal pictures of others from on the internet.
Pretty much. So yeah, no, it's at some point I will probably go to where totality is, but this year was not that year.
Yeah, so I remember that because it went weird. It went across the U.S. from Oregon down through, like, I think it went out through South Carolina, but I happened to be in Huntsville, Alabama, at Helen Keller Hospital. So I was on top of that. And besides that fact that it was 110 degrees on that roof, and I had my red glasses. I had these bright red sunglasses that you could actually look up into the sun and stuff like that, and it would had it. I felt like it was like half of 3D glasses.
I got you.
But so Paul doesn't like us talking about the eclipse anymore and wants us to talk sports. And that Ricardo Pinto is now his new favorite pitcher because he likes a sinker. I'll tell you, I haven't even watched him pitch, so I don't know. I hope for your sake he stays. I was, I have no idea if he's really any good or not. But there you go. But I appreciate the fact that you brought him even up on my show, because I have no idea. I feel like that I'm not even into baseball yet. Like, I'm still, working out the Sixers and the Flyers and stuff like that. Like,
actually, I'm kind of looking towards the draft. Like, it's, I want to see how some of these teams get rounded out. Because, I mean, I never really do mock drafts because they're, after the first pick, they're pretty much all dumb, because you never know what a GM is going to do. And soon as somebody picks someone different, anything you were selecting is out the window. So, I mean, the mock drafts are always hilarious, especially when you watch people that are doing like a mock draft every couple days. It's like, okay, well, I mean, if you put 500 out, one of them's probably kind of close, I guess. Like, you know what I mean? So, but some of these teams could really add some talent in this draft.
I agree with that. So I saw something yesterday, I guess it was. And I always laugh when, somebody compares one team to another, especially when it's somebody comparing the Cowboys to the Eagles.
Okay.
And they says, okay, quarterback, we're going to give it to Dak. Marginally, I'll go with that.
Sure.
Marginally, I'll go with that.
I'll go with that.
Running back, I'll give it to the Eagles. Again, no questions asked there.
Yeah, no doubt.
Offensive line, they give it to the Cowboys, and they give it with the Cowboys on the caveat that the Cowboys choose an all-pro left tackle in the draft.
I mean, that's a tall order.
What? Are you fucking kidding me? Are you serious?
Yeah,
you ain't got the Cowboys ain't got shit.
Yeah, I mean, so that one's tough to wrap your head around, because it's like, okay, you're going to draft a guy and you're going to expect him to be an all-pro year one? Like, that doesn't make sense.
I laughed at that.
I'd have to give the Eagles the nod for that O-line.
So, and then it said wide receivers, Cowboys.
Okay.
Tight ends, Cowboys. No. Like, wide receiver, first off, I think wide receiver is still the Eagles because of A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith. You have CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah.
Who's the other guy that's on that team? I know that there's somebody.
Yeah, I mean, the Cowboys do have a decent receiving core. Who's their tight end?
Well, it's no longer Schultz. It's now the one guy, that rookie who had problems catching the ball.
Yeah, well, that's why I was.
And then Dallas Goedert, which is a top 5 tight end in the league. But go ahead, let the Cowboys keep that. Okay, yeah, well, sure, whatever. Obviously, you have no clue what you're talking about. Then defensive line, Cowboys. No. The defensive line is definitely Eagles. The defensive line of the Cowboys stinks. The linebacking crew of the Cowboys better than the Eagles.
Yeah, no, their linebackers are nice.
You know what I mean? And the cornerbacks who got smoked a lot on both teams. The Eagles and the Cowboys both. They got smoked. So the cornerbacks and the safeties, I would say. So I that would really be a toss-up either way around.
The safeties would probably go to the Cowboys. Because, I mean, you got to keep in mind they were injured, right? Because they still have Diggs back there. So, I mean,
yeah, they still have Diggs. And Diggs he got all those interceptions. And then he got burnt. He got toasted the rest of the season. Got all those interceptions early, toasted for the rest of the season. So I don't want to hear that it was him.
And then he got injured. So, I mean.
Well, he got injured last year. Year. I'm talking 2 years ago. He did all that. Last year, he was a non-factor because he was hurt.
Exactly.
So it's, and the other guy came in and did pretty good. He got 7 touchdowns?
Yes.
Interceptions,
so
touchdowns.
I would give the edge to the Cowboys on safeties. But overall.
And those two guys we're talking about, they're cornerbacks. They're not even safety.
Oh, yeah, you're right. So I guess they're cornerbacks. I'd give them the edge on corners.
Which I could say. Yeah, absolutely. That's the case. But not on the defensive line, not on the offensive line, and not on the tight ends. The wide receivers, you could almost think, but I don't think so. You know what I mean? I think that has more to do with the quarterback. And again, your quarterback is the same as our quarterback at the moment. Because our quarterback at least has played in an NFC Championship game and a Super Bowl. Sure. And your guys has a hard time winning any playoff game.
No, I mean, there is definitely that. I mean, the Cowboys aren't going to be good. Like, they had to shed too much talent to get under the cap.
Mom pulling up some
here we go.
Today, 50 years ago. How about that?
All right.
And so there you go. How about that? Hank Aaron did his 715th home run today at approximately probably around 9:00 at night.
Probably.
And it was in Atlanta, right?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think it was in Atlanta. And yeah, that's awesome. Thank you, Mom, for that tidbit, because I would not have remembered. I wasn't around.
Yeah, exactly.
I was around. I just wasn't paying attention to them at this point.
It was yesterday.
Ah, there we go. See? There we go. Yesterday. So during the eclipse.
Yeah.
Now on Eclipse Day, the world did not end, and we still get to remember Hank Aaron's 715th home run. So, nice.
Yeah, so some sports trivia, for our little segment, Wild World of Sports.
There we go. See, you're too young to remember the Wide World of Sports, right?
No, I do remember watching it. Yeah.
They used to show arm wrestling all the time.
Yeah, I was like
World of Sports.
That, and Football Follies was always hilarious.
Yeah, you remember when they used to have like the football Olympics in the summer? They would get the quarterbacks and they would do the same thing that they do for the Pro Bowl game now. Kind of, it was like they would do all that stuff. Well, I appreciate that with the fresh mushrooms there, Wen. Right. Way to catch up.
Sorry, that made me laugh. What was that now?
We're still talking about the pizza there in Wen's world. Yeah. See, and that threw me off, way off right there. But
So anyway, there was a football, uh, like the Pro Bowl game. What?
no, so they used to, in the wide world of sports, in the summer
Oh,
they
okay.
would get the quarterbacks and they would do like they do in the
Oh,
Pro
the
Bowl game.
challenges. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
and that was like kind of fun to watch. Like they'd get like 20 players, quarterbacks and then non-quarterbacks, and they would have these um, football Olympics almost.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they don't do that anymore, which is a shame. They really should. I think that would again, that those were things that brought, because you got to see the human side of some of these players.
Yeah.
And you don't get to see that anymore. Like that. Those are parts of the thing. The only time you get to see a human side of some of these players is on their social media, which is a shame because
Yeah.
some of these players shouldn't even have social media.
Well, I always liked some of the the long throws, right? Like one of the ones that always made me laugh was Harbaugh, right? He throws and it was I think it was like 55 yards. And he's like, yeah, that was good for me. Like it was one of the funnier quotes, because he's going up against guys like Marino and Elway that had cannons. And, so he chucks this like 55 yarder and he's like, yeah.
Everybody else is throwing like 70.
Yeah, no, exactly.
And it's a shame. I don't remember Cunningham ever being in it, but it's a shame because he'd have monstered everybody. Like he'd have just been like 90-yard passes. That guy had a cannon for an arm and knew how to throw the ball. Like I remember watching him throw like a 75-yard bomb to, Arkansas Fred Barnett. You know what I mean? And just it was amazing to watch that guy do his thing. Now everybody can throw like 70 yards. I mean, it was kind of cool to watch Patrick Mahomes throw the ball out of the stadium that one time. Because that's not easy to do either.
No, that's
you got to get some heights and and stuff like that. So that's the type of that's like I remember when they showed that I was like, damn, that's not simple to do.
No.
At all.
That is a throw. Like there is a lot of power behind that.
Exactly. So, and then how about all the people that Brett Favre when he was the quarterback, that's at the end of their NFL life, they would get their pinkies removed because it would kill. He'd crush their pinkies so bad. So, like, because he could throw bullets.
Sure.
It hurt when you caught that ball.
Yeah.
So, and don't miss it because it's going to hurt even worse the next time.
Yeah, exactly.
So, no sound to his end. I don't know what that means.
Yeah, I don't know what that means.
So, but anyways, I figure we will talk about the NCAA men's tournament here after the break, since it did happen, and wasn't really any surprise even.
Like no, it's more or less how I thought that would go down. Like UConn was just enough better of a team. Like in a way, you're like, it'd be kind of cool if Purdue pulled it off. But I didn't really think they'd be able to. Like I thought UConn was just too much better, and you could see them wear Purdue down. Like just before half, Purdue looked gassed.
Yeah. And like I said, they did very similar situation. Let's just guard the big man.
Yep.
He's their team. Guard him, and we will be able to win this game. And they did. It was very, very similar to the way that they did it with Caitlin Clark. You know what I mean? That the Connecticut women did. I wouldn't have been surprised if they had combined practices about it.
Yeah.
Because it was like eerily similar.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was like they had the same exact game plan going in. And it worked for the men. It didn't work for the women, mostly because he wasn't as good as she was.
Yeah.
That's really what that comes to. So it's a three-peat for UConn. I
Three teams
wouldn't
are
be
tough.
surprised. I wouldn't be surprised about that. Um, the problem is that they had a lot of seniors on this team, right?
Yeah, they got a lot of people moving on. I mean, three peats are tough. Three peats are tough.
Yeah.
I wouldn't rule it out, but
I mean, what was the last time somebody three-peated?
in college,
Yeah.
man, I don't know. I'd have to look that up.
I mean, I think of UCLA. How did my bracket end up? I don't know. I threw away my bracket. I chose Kansas to win. They lost in the second round. I had Houston in my Final Four. They didn't make it. I don't even remember who the other team was that I had. I know that I think my Final Four, I got a whole 0 out of 4. Maybe 1. I thought Duke maybe 2. Duke maybe have done it. North Carolina maybe have done it. Kentucky maybe
Here we go.
have done it.
Minnesota was the last team to do it, winning 3 consecutive titles in 34 to 36. So it's been a minute.
Really? Not UCLA?
According to NBC Chicago.
Wow. Who would have thought Minnesota?
Right.
That basketball powerhouse.
So that means what? There was probably a couple of them where they won 2 in a row, missed a year, and then won the third like the next year or something. Pretty crazy.
Yeah. I was gonna see if they're 3-time NCAA men's basketball championships. I mean, was there anybody who ever did it?
Oh, never mind.
Besides them?
This one says the Bruins 67. Nope.
Here, I'm going back into NCAA.com championship history. Let's go. Florida won it back to back.
Yeah, it looks like there's been quite a few back-to-backs.
2 Dukes back to back. UCLA 73, 72, 71, 70, 69, 68, 67. Lost in 66, 65, and 64. Wow.
That's quite the run.
From 64 to 75, they lost twice. Once to UTEP and once to North Carolina State.
Crazy.
And wow, LaSalle won it in 1954. That's a big deal. Kentucky won it 3 out of 4 years. And yeah, before 1939, there wasn't any.
Oh, that's funny. Because on the headline, it says NCAA basketball, but then when it said Minnesota, it says NCAA football.
Yeah, it was the NIT.
The article.
That would have been the NIT. So UCLA was the only one to do it. It looks like they were the only ones to do it ever. I mean, and they had a nice little run there, obviously, but I mean, because Duke won it in 91 and 92, but that it was actually the Jerry Tarkanian, the UNLV team that beat him in that first year. So Duke would have won it 90, 91, and 92. And then Dean Smith beat him in 93, and they wound up beating Michigan, which I believe was the Fab Five. 93 was the Fab Five, I think. Right? Michigan?
That sounds about right. Yeah.
Although they got beat 77-71. That was the timeout because Michigan, the Fab Five, the year before lost to Duke 71-51. They got manhandled. I remember that. Yeah, and then it's okay. All right, so it's only ever been UCLA.
Yeah, that's quite the run. I mean,
Yeah, Cincinnati had gone 3 times in a row, but lost in overtime to Loyola of Illinois. And that would have been their 3rd win in a row.
I mean, that's the biggest thing, right? Like it is so hard to three-peat in any sport, really. But
right.
I mean, that's why, I've been kind of chuckling about, KC's a shoe-in to do it. It's like, man, I mean, do I think they'll get a shot at it? Maybe. But, I mean, it's hard to win that game every time.
Yeah, I'm just looking at teams that maybe made it to the finals, had the ability to even do it 3 times in a row, and there wasn't. It's like literally, you see teams have made it twice, but that's it. It's just, when was San Francisco a university? Yeah, I don't even remember that.
Yeah,
And Villanova, it's funny because Villanova was one of the teams that lost to UCLA. That was John Wooden as the coach of UCLA. As I'm looking at this now, because I would have never have thought, Villanova was any good. I only heard about Villanova in 1985 was when they started. And then, of course, when Jay Wright became coach, they started to do much, much better. But Philadelphia teams are not typically very good. Yes, that was what I was talking about. That was 93. That was, what was Face calling the timeout? No timeouts left. And that was the end of that game. Poof. All right, guys, we're at the top of the hour. We're going to take our commercial break, and we will be back momentarily. So please stay tuned till after these messages.
I mean, you can see right now, without LeBron, Lakers are struggling.
Let me tell you about a team I hate, all right? I know the Dallas Cowboy fan is here, so I had to make sure he knew how much I hate this team.
I'm ready.
I've often said that the people who run baseball, they try very hard to ruin it.
I'm from Brooklyn. I don't have a problem saying it to his face.
Oh, from Brooklyn.
Hey, get any.
Trisha's having a sleepover tonight. Can I go?
I wonder about Lucy's friends. What should I say? I know you're only 10, but one of these days a friend will offer you a drink. And alcohol at your age can lead to so many things. None of them good.
So can I go to the sleepover?
Lucy, I want you to promise me
I
something.
finished my homework.
Bigger promise. If there's any drinking, I want you to say, "No thanks, not my thing."
Mom.
I promise you. Your real friends won't care. Deal?
Sure.
Really?
I promise, Mom.
They really do hear you.
Did you pack your toothbrush?
For tips on how to start the talk, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov. A public service message from the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration.
Sometimes, all you need to change your life is a sign. A sign that says, "Hank, this is the place you've been looking for." And sometimes that sign is an actual sign that's mounted to a building. 1 second, I'm looking at a sign. I know what you're thinking, and no, I don't love B-dubs just because I'm a buffalo with wings. Frankly, that's offensive and reductionist. Cause this place, come on. It's like they took beer and made it into a place and then gave that place sports and chicken wings. And the people, Cuba, the best. Oh! What the is going on, Marty? This isn't a game, this is trivia! Yeah, this place is kind of like heaven. You know, without needing to get hit by a bus. Let's go, sports bar!
Supporting the needs of our veterans. That's the goal of all of us at Team AmVets. Like Mitch, Carlos, and Kevin from our Welcome Home team that brings furniture to our vets.
We are Team AmVets.
Or Linda from our thrift stores who brings you great bargains every day.
I am Team AmVets.
And John, who picks up your thrift store donations that support California veterans programs.
I am Team AmVets.
Visit our website or a Team AmVets thrift store to donate or shop today.
Join the team!
You know, one of the best things about being an ex-big leaguer is getting freebies to the game. Call the front office, bingo. And once these fans recognize me, I probably won't even have to pay for my light beer from Miller. Down it, I love them. These fans know I drink light because it's less filling and it tastes great. Good seats, huh?
You're in the wrong seat, buddy. Come on.
Oh, I must be in the front row.
Come on.
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer and less.
Good seats, hey, buddy. He missed the tag. He missed the tag.
I love showing some of them old commercials.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it reminds you that TV has been around for a long time.
Oh yeah. Every time I see him, it always makes me want to watch Major League again.
Exactly.
Makes me laugh. I mean, one of my most quoted lines from that, just a bit outside.
Right.
Yep, Bobby Uecker. I mean, I think McLovin would have a hard time since he's got the bionic knee.
Well, now that the bionic knee is there and once it heals, he should be okay.
Yeah, once it heals, but
Yeah, he's not right now. Not right now. He's out of commission.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the cage match. I listen. You don't want any of this. You don't want none of this. Like if I could show you some of the highlights of the food eating championship, but it would take me forever to actually download. So and then I'd have to cut it up a little bit to just get my parts out of there. But
and Rob, we actually don't know when he's coming back. He's been having some follow-ups and still dealing with a lot of pain. So unfortunately, him coming back is just sort of a unknown, but hopefully soon for lots of reasons. Obviously we want to see him, and it also means that he's not in so much pain.
Here's the story before we get into the men's NCAA championship. Here's a something that came across my news feed that's very important in the world of my world. The judge ordered the Kansas City Chiefs superfan Xavier Babudar, who is Chiefsaholic.
Oh, okay.
He's ordered to pay $10.8 million to the ex-bank teller.
Wow.
He owes, not only is he going to jail for life, I think he's got not a life sentence, but I think it's
might as well be
consecutive 28-year sentences. So he's not, I think he robbed 12 banks. And let me tell you, not for nothing. He is, that guy had to have some steel balls, stainless steel, heavy MF balls. I tell you, that's not. First off, you gotta have a set of cojones just to go and rob a bank.
No doubt.
You know what I mean? Now, I got to imagine that the world isn't like the world is here in Philadelphia. I live close enough to Philly that it's Big Brother's watching everywhere. Not that Big Brother's not watching everywhere else too, but
it definitely is, especially in banks.
Yeah, but ultimately, the banks are more mom and pop ish out there, Oklahoma, Missouri, Kansas, Bible Belt area. You know what I mean?
It's somebody hiding money under a mattress in the back room. I feel like they're probably a little more professional than that.
Well, no, but I think that what I'm getting at is that the banks there are probably a little bit more old school. that they're in that area. So in our area, banks buy banks. That's
Yeah,
what
of
happens. So
course.
so
Yeah.
all the big banks become bigger banks.
Yeah.
So that's out in the West. As you get further out, or in the Middle America
I
area,
was going to say out here they do the same thing.
yeah, I got to imagine that there is more mom and pop banks than there are probably anywhere else. You know, like that. I bank in a mom and pop bank.
Okay.
You know what I mean? It's called the County Savings Bank. You know, it's like it's a mom and pop bank. They don't, yeah, like I said, that's more Middle America, I figure. You're not doing that in LA. The banks that you find in Middle America aren't banks that you were like, you're going to hear of a bank out there that never made it over this way. You know what I mean? That they would not, it wouldn't last over here. They'd wind up getting swallowed up.
Yep.
So that's why I figure like he was able to get in and out of these places. You know what I mean? The dummy just forgot his real mask, or the mask he was using to rob places, and then he put on his Chiefsaholic mask.
Yeah.
Not smart, buddy. Not smart.
Exactly.
But, that's where you get brazen, because listen, if you're doing it the first time you do it and you don't get caught, great.
Yep.
The second time you do it, you don't get caught. I might be onto something here. Third time, it's a trend now.
Yeah.
Now catch
You
me.
got this worked out.
Catch me if you can. And really, he got away even on that 15th bank. He got caught because, like I said, he forgot his mask and he used his Chiefsaholic mask.
Yeah, which is idiotic.
Not only that, he was using the money to bet on the Chiefs and bet on the Chiefs.
Yeah.
And I heard he was a little like Robin Hood, stealing from the bank and giving to everybody. So,
yeah,
just a shame. Like I said, all of those things, and on top of that, the guy has to have a little bit of a brain. Not only is he have ego,
yeah,
but
he had to be kind of smart to be able to work it out and be able to get through as many as he did.
Not only that, he got out for the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
He went to the Super Bowl.
Yep.
Like, how do you play that? How is it that even occurs? I got arrested robbing 15 banks, and I'm going to get let out before my trial, and then went on the run.
Well, I mean, to be fair, he probably had the money to pay his bail.
Yeah, but I figured that would have all been not seized, at least.
Well, I mean, I don't know that you would put the kind of money that you're robbing back into a bank account.
No.
Right? So, I mean,
but where are you coming up with that money? You know what I mean?
Well,
like,
the thing
ultimately,
is
it's got to be proven.
Did you leave it somewhere where they could seize it, where they knew where it was? I wouldn't, right? Like you in the back of your mind, you have to think at some point, right? Because this is a federal crime. So, this isn't like, oh, I'm just going to bounce out of the state and, probably going to be fine. Like, this is a federal crime. Like, they're going to find you at some point. So I don't know that you would hide your money somewhere that is directly tied to you. So if you did, get out because you were able to, make bail, whatever, you probably still have that money somewhere, at least some of it.
There you go.
Oh, there you go. His partner bailed him out. They helped him rob the banks. So there you go.
Yeah, because he knew where the money was buried.
Exactly.
Because that's the hard part about this. I mean, this is one of those things. It's like, this goes back to old time stuff.
Yep.
You bury the money. Don't ever let anybody know where it's at. You put it exactly where you're going to find it, and maybe someday somebody goes to find it. Or if you ever get out, you have it.
Exactly.
So, I mean, not that I have any chance to go rob a bank. There's no chance.
I don't have the inclination because I look bad in orange. So, just not my color.
Yeah, and I'm a wuss when it comes to stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm not
Like,
trying to
there's
go.
no, yeah, I'm just not doing that. Like, just not. Thanks, but no thanks. Appreciate it. Got some lovely parting gifts. No robbing banks for me.
Yep.
But God bless him. I hope he's okay, and that they have good television wherever he's at, and that they show Chiefs games. It'll really suck when the Chiefs move, and he's no longer to watch Chiefs games, and he'll be stuck watching the UFL. Yeah, Chris isn't dropping any soap.
Yeah, he's going to be dropping powdered soap. That's a federal pen.
And he's a big dude. Like, the guy's stocky. Like, he's gonna have some fights in there.
Probably.
But all right, and so anyways, like I said, UConn did beat Purdue. They beat him pretty handily.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't even close. With 8 minutes left in the game, they were up by 15. I'm like, yeah, this isn't going anywhere. And
now, again, just before half, you could tell that Purdue was pretty gassed. I mean, you were going to get a little bit of a breather at halftime, but I mean, if you are already noticeably slowing down towards the end of the first half, the odds of you being able to hang through the second isn't great. So, the score was pretty close at half, but you could tell that it was going to be, it wasn't going to go their way. So
I'm sitting here, and as I'm looking at the news, I that NCAA men's basketball game didn't even move my needle at all. We knew that UConn was going to win. They won.
Yeah, no,
like
the women's
I wonder who had the bigger ratings, the women's or the men's. I'd be willing to bet that the women's did.
Yeah, the women's was a far better game,
and that they had a much better turnout.
Yeah, I'll see if I can.
They have the quarterbacks, but it doesn't have any of the other ones. Pain in the ass. All right. So I'm looking at draft prospects for the 2024 draft. Since right now we are literally 16 days away, 2 weeks and 2 days to the NFL draft. Actually, Purdue chicken doesn't come from Purdue, by the way, just so that you know. The number one quarterback obviously still remains Caleb Williams. You think Chicago takes him?
I mean, probably at this point, just because they fumbled their option to do something smart last year. So I feel like they just have pressure to make that happen. Here we go. So the women's had 18.7 million viewers, and the men's 14.69.
Yeah.
And that makes sense to me.
Yeah, and 14.69 sounds high.
Well, I mean, to be fair, they did it in a football stadium, so maybe some of those viewers went to the game.
And it's, Boston area. I mean, UConn is still considered like Boston, New England style. So they're going to root for their teams. It's not like, there's only something good that happens up there every once in a while. So anytime something good happens, that whole area
bands
gets
together.
Gets behind.
And then, of course, tough to quantify, right? Because, I mean, some of that is how many more of those were watched in a sports bar where that viewership number is an unknown number versus, the women's game. Were they viewed there, or were they more at home? Like, there's factors that those numbers never really tell you.
Okay.
But that being said, the women's game was a far better game. So it makes total sense to me that they had significantly more viewers.
Yeah. Well, and they have had all season long, actually. It's like I've been at first I was like, no way, that's not the case. But this year is the case
Yeah, no, it's been consistent.
that the women have been more of a draw this year, and they've been much more of a draw than the WNBA. And it's interesting how the haters are starting now, like in social media, to get their just desserts.
Yeah.
Like that woman who said no, she didn't break my record because you can't break what you didn't compete at. I'm like, shut up.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
So there is, and like literally it's coming out from all sides, not just guys and sports analysts, but women as well.
Yeah,
women are like
probably
women on women crime is a
That's the more
big deal.
disappointing one.
Yeah, that's a big deal. And the fact that some of these women are using the race card, like that's like the worst thing in the world that you could do. Like, hold on. We're only watching her because she's white. Are you kidding me? She's a woman. You know what I mean? That's still the
thing that doesn't make any sense of that is, okay, so say you wanted to play that card. Did that make her single season record points? Did that make her 3 points? That was a record. Did that make her career points record? Like, I'm pretty sure stats don't care about race at all.
Right. Not even a little bit.
Yeah, like math doesn't care.
But people are going to cry and complain and do whatever they need to do. And you know what? This is the reason why nobody watches women's basketball. The WNBA can't get any traction. More people watched the women's NCAA basketball than they have the WNBA.
Yeah.
In some cases, they watched more women's basketball, women's college basketball, than the NBA games.
I would say that was true for me. I watched more NCAA women's basketball than I watched NBA at all this year.
And I'm not talking about, the ladies from Davidson University playing the Sister Mary of the Blind and Sister Mary of the Poor. Nobody's watching those games. But the games like, South Carolina, UConn, that South Carolina-Tennessee game was a big game. People watched it, and it came down to the last second.
Yep. Yeah, definitely hit that like button and, of course, subscribe button if you are watching on either of our YouTube channels.
Please do.
That is a huge help to both of us.
Yeah, I'm trying to get into the 10,000 mark. I'm only at 2,000.
I'm just still trying to hit 1,000.
There you go. So join us. Follow the trend.
That's right.
Subscribing to our.
Smash that subscribe button.
And then hit that little bell thing. So that I can ding you every time I go on.
That's
I
right.
ding a lot.
Yeah, those notifications, definitely helpful.
Ding.
Right? Help get those watch hours up. But step number 1 is hitting subscribe. That is the key.
Exactly. Not that we're always talking sports either. Sometimes we started this I started today, and I asked Bo. I said, Bo, what do you know about cryptocurrency? And he's like, if you day trade, you can make some money.
Yep.
Not that we're going to start talking about day trading on cryptocurrency, but if any one of us people are out here know anything about cryptocurrency and possibly starting a cryptocurrency, reach out to me. I've got a thing that I've been wanting to maybe start one.
You just selected yourself for so much spam.
Oh, I know. So, but go ahead, and all those spammers, subscribe to my YouTube.
Yeah, well, there's that. If you hit the subscribe button, hey.
But yeah, spam me all you want as long as you subscribe to my YouTube.
That's right.
Yeah, and that's really I'm trying to get if I could get all of my my followers from TikTok to do my YouTube, that would be the amazing thing.
It's hard just to get the people you physically know to hit the subscribe button. Even if you're like, hey, never watch it, I'll get my watch hours another way. Just the first number I need to hit is the 1,000. And, even that's a challenge. So,
Yeah. you have to like sets up some type of contest. Like that's the way to do it. Be like, hey, I'm giving away 2 tickets to the Mariners game, and hope they're playing somebody worthwhile, so that the fans of that team will maybe subscribe to your podcast, because nobody cares about the Mariners right now except Rob, because he's going to lose some money.
Yeah, I mean, so that is one thing that is good here in the Northwest, is even with our teams when they're bad, we still follow our teams. Like, I'm still going to go to games. I'm still going to watch. I'll probably spend more time walking around because, our bats aren't that great. So, as soon as you're down by a run or two, it's back to, 5 years ago when you're like, oh, we're down by a run, game's over. I understand it's the first, but that's what our bats can do. So it just means that I will wander around and grab beer from different stands as I watch the game from different areas. Because we do have a good stadium for that. Like, you can see the game pretty much from any of the concourses, and you can buy beer all over the place. So it works out.
About if I was to invest in 500 Bitcoin, that would be $3.5 million.
Yeah.
So I'm not investing into 500 Bitcoin. But if you're asking me to say if I only should invest $500 in general, I've invested more than that already. So I'm already.
And again, like with the fluctuation that it has, if you day trade and you're really paying attention, you can make money. There's no doubt. I did when I was living in Mexico. I made pretty decent money at it day trading. But it requires time, right? It's a job like anything else. You got to be watching, and you got to be ready to buy or dump it, whenever it hits the number you want. Otherwise, you can really hurt yourself. So,
well, and I know exactly what you're talking about, because I mean, I have invested a total of $3,000.
Okay.
All right, and right now my portfolio is 3,100. So, but not very long ago it was 1,400.
Yeah, because the coins have made a run over the last month.
Right.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
it's one of those situations where if you're going to invest in any of this cryptocurrency, and I am not, I have to caveat this, I am not a financial advisor. I would not take financial advice from me in any stretch of the imagination. This is only for entertainment purposes, so that I do not get banned in any way, shape, or form as from a sports show trying to talk about cryptocurrency. But ultimately, it's, when I invested the first $500, I did it with Dogecoin. Yeah. And really, as funny as it is, Dogecoin itself, with that investment of $500, when I bought it, well, it went all the way down. That went down to like $200, and then it went back up, and now that 500 is 1,500, which is nice. You tripled your money, you should pull it out almost. So if you were in a casino, you would.
If you wanted to do the day trading thing, things like Doge are great because of how volatile they are, but you have to watch, right? Because especially over like the last month, you've had 10% increases and drops within the same day. So if you're day trading, and caveat to that, to be able to day trade, you have to have 25 grand in there. It's just one of the rules. So, but if you were day trading, you could be making decent returns multiple times during the day. But again, you got to be watching whatever trend is happening. And if you do decide, hey, I'm selling out, and it continues to run, don't buy back in. Like, it's coming back down.
Yeah.
Wait for it to come back. Don't be like, oh no, I missed it, and buy back in. That's how you lose money.
Yeah, no, you can't gamble with the money. You gotta have, your buy in, your buy out, or your half out. Like, you got to take half out, and if you want to still run, let only a little bit run. But,
exactly. Yeah, no, it's a grind. It's a grind. Like, it's not a get rich quick thing. Like, it's a grind. You got to work at it.
So I would tell you the AI platforms are not as good as you would think. So I played that game, and so it also played, like right when there was the downturn. the initial downturn 2 years ago of crypto. That was part of where things started to change a little bit. You know, like my 3,100 went to 1,400 or less even. It might have been down to like 900 at its cheapest. So yeah, I know that they're starting to bring their stuff in there. That's nothing
matter.
new.
It comes and goes. Like, I
But-
mean, that's no different than a CEO selling his stock to buy something. The stock always takes a dip because they add a bunch more back that wasn't there, but it ultimately comes back. I mean, it's just the nature of the beast. Like, they go up and down. You just got to pick your spots.
Right. So, and in my case, I want to create a cryptocurrency. That's what I want to do. I want to create a cryptocurrency that deals with sports. And if anybody's got $1 billion, feel free to buy all of this. Actually, you wouldn't even need $1 billion. Ultimately, 10 million would be able to buy most of the cryptocurrency, because we're going to start it off very, very inexpensive. You know, I was saying we're only going to have a finite amount of coins, though, only 1 trillion coins. 1 trillion. And how would you acquire one of those coins? You don't have to mine. All you have to do is subscribe to my YouTube channel, and you can have a coin. And then any comment that you make on my YouTube channel, you'll get a coin. You comment 1 million times, you'll be a million coinaire. I don't know what that'll win, but
Yeah, I mean, that's the biggest thing, right? Is where does the monetary value come from? Because I mean, when you look at the actual value of like what a Dogecoin is, like 19 thousandths of a cent or something like it. Like it's
no. Right now, Doge is at 20 cents.
Yeah, that's right, 20 cents. I was thinking of SHIB.
Yeah, SHIB. I have 5 million SHIB.
Yeah, but that one's like
And
19
that's-
thousandths of a cent or something. Like
it's literally. I think it's got 5 zeros in front of it.
Yeah, exactly. It's worth nothing.
So, but that's why you could buy 4 million of them, because if it ever becomes a penny, I am selling.
No doubt.
Half of it. I'm selling half of it. You know, I'll take the $200,000 that I would have made.
Yeah.
Right off the top, that's just cutting it off the top. That's just paying myself, making it rain over here. But so anyways, if you know anything about cryptocurrencies and know how to start one, this is maybe something for Chris. I know Chris is already on it. He's like, how do you create a cryptocurrency?
right.
I can make this all occur, stuff like that. Because I'll be honest, I'm not writing an algorithm.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of work that goes into making one.
Right. I mean, I've checked out you could create a cryptocurrency in 7 minutes. I'm like, yeah. That cryptocurrency ain't going to be worth anything at all, and that's not going to have really any real stuff. You know, my white paper is going to be, me drawing on crayon that says, I am smart, SMRT.
Yep. Exactly.
But anyways, maybe we should get back to a little bit more sports.
Yep.
So they ranked, I'm watching the rankings of the draft report, the NFL draft report from the NFL, and they did the quarterbacks and now the running backs. Now, obviously, the quarterbacks haven't changed. You got Caleb Williams, Drake May, Jaden Daniels, J.J. McCarthy.
Yep. Penix and Bo Nix. Yep. And then from there, it doesn't matter.
Spencer Rattler.
3rd round? 4th round? Probably.
They compare him to Baker Mayfield. I don't know if that's a great comparison. It doesn't really say where he would go. Interesting mid-round prospect. So 3rd, 4th round.
Yeah, that's what I figured. Is he'd be one of those late 3rd, early to mid 4th round options, and then everybody else from there is like a 5th.
Yeah. Then it's Michael Pratt. Where did he go? Can't really tell. The green, I don't know what green. Looks like a green monster or whatever, but and his NFL comparison is Jarrett Stidham. I don't know if that's a good comparison either. Joe Milton, he's the one that actually intrigues me the most. So his NFL comparison is Felipe Franks.
Witt is a nut job.
Right there.
Yeah. I mean,
I tell you, that's the one thing that NFL players have been 100% in a line with. You know, who is one of your teammates you would not introduce your sister to? Everybody says Stefon Diggs.
That's fair.
And he doesn't know. He doesn't know why. Actually, he does know why. He
knows exactly why. Like, if he says he doesn't, he's lying.
Right. But he is that guy. You just don't bring your mom around Stefon Diggs because he is going to explain why people believe that about him.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and at 1:15 today, Fletcher Cox announced his retirement live. You know, he did it live on NBC or whatever it is. So, yeah, it was that was a nice run by him. You know, it's a shame that he's retiring. I know he's probably going to go to he's one of those guys that's not going to spend any more time in football.
Yeah, he'll move on. Yeah.
He's going to live the rest of his life out in his ranch in Texas. And, you know, he's got a very weird story behind him. Like, not many people know his entire story. Fletcher Cox he got paid a tremendous amount of money, but he did not receive a tremendous amount of money.
Oh, yeah.
He was one of those guys that didn't know what he was doing. And his agent stole from him tremendously.
Oh, lame.
Yeah, like you could find out, like if you go Fletcher Cox, money, you might see that whole story. Very interesting story. Very interesting story. Obviously, the last couple years of his contracts, he went, I think, agentless. Like, he didn't deal with an agent. He just said, "Hey, this is how much money I want," and the Eagles paid him. But it was odd, very odd, how he just hundreds of millions of dollars, and after his first contract, I think he had a total of I think he got paid $100 million, and he wound up receiving like 2 of it.
Whoa.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know the whole story about it. Let me see if I can pull it up.
Wow, that is super shady. Yeah, I'll have to look into that.
Let's see what.
Yeah, because that's insane. Like, that's one of those.
And yeah, it's projected contract. Fletcher Cox $103 million contract is mostly a sham. No, that's not it. That's not what I was looking for.
Money.
He turned down $100 million deal. Nope. I wish I could find out about.
Yeah, I'll have to look more into it after the show.
Yeah, like I said, you'll find out a lot about it. It's like it's not going to show up on the first couple of pages because he just retired, obviously.
Yeah.
So it's here. Let me see if
Yeah. So Rob, a lot of guys are kind of high on Penix, and it has a lot to do with the accuracy of his football. So he actually probably throws the best ball coming out. Now, obviously, there is some injury concerns, but at the same time, they were ACL injuries, right? So those are kind of, one of them was a non-contact, the other one was, it was a hit. It happens. So it's not like he has crazy injury history. It's not like he's a Tua or something like that, where there's a lot of, concussions, things like that. So a lot of coaches or scouts, I should say, do kind of hold Penix in a high regard. I think it is his past injury history that will keep him in that fourth position as far as quarterbacks taken, fourth or fifth, depending on how much somebody likes JJ McCarthy. The stock for him is kind of all over the place. And, it's funny because some people look at him as he's going to be, he should be higher than he is, but we don't really know what he can be because it's not what Michigan asked him to do, right? Like they were a heavy run team, so they weren't really asking him to do a lot. The problem with that is, as a scout, you're looking at it and you're like, well, he wasn't asked to do a lot, so we don't know what all he can actually do. So that's why JJ probably stays in that fourth or fifth area. But yeah, a lot of people, a lot of new people, or a lot of guys like what Penix can bring, but you got to have a good offensive line for him.
Yeah, I mean, there's some that say Penix is one of the best
throwers of the ball. Yes, I would agree with that. It's just the rest of it that you don't know.
How's the new chair working out?
Good. Yeah. No. So that was so some behind the scenes things is I didn't actually have a chair. So for the first 2 weeks or so doing the show here, I was sitting on a tote because I didn't have a chair here yet. So I had parts of my office set up, but yeah, I was sitting on a plastic Costco tote. So having a chair is way better, as you would imagine.
The Cox article is on the Business Insider.
Okay.
So go to Business Insider to read about Cox.
Perfect.
That's exactly what I wanted to. Yeah. So is he a first rounder now? I assume he's talking about Penix.
I think he always was a first rounder.
He was supposed to be a late first rounder. Now I think he's going to be in the top 12.
Yeah, I think he's a mid to late first round. So I would imagine he goes somewhere in the 12, maybe 12 through like 19 is kind of the window I expect him to go in. And then Bo Nix will be a late first round, maybe early second round, because there are a lot of good offensive linemen coming through. And there are some teams that need that. I would imagine Bo Nix is probably going to land somewhere like 25 to 28, somewhere around in there. But because he'll be the sixth one off the board. So I would imagine, he's probably still a late first round. But there's quite a few offensive line guys and a few receivers that I think get off the board.
Do you think somebody could stir up the draft some by choosing Penix early? Or
I think what it'll be is if the first three go 1, 2, 3, right? If that goes down, and then say somebody does trade with the Cards and they pick JJ 4, then Penix goes in the top 10. Because you get that run, right? And because the NFL is that copycat league. When they see all those guys running off, there will be some moves, be like, oh, okay, I thought this guy was going to drop to me, but now I don't trust that it will. So then you might see somebody go up to get Penix, maybe reach for him a little bit. But if it goes 1, 2, 3, and then the cards stay where they are and they take, Marvin Harrison Jr., right? And then maybe Neighbors comes off next. And then the Giants grab, because I think the Giants are at 6. And then so they grab JJ there. Then you probably see Penix still land in that 12 to 19 range, because all of a sudden you're going to be looking at teams that are in positions to grab an offensive tackle or something like that. So it'll depend on what happens with really that Arizona position. Do they actually trade out and, somebody that needs a quarterback go in there? Because if you start seeing all the quarterbacks run off the board, then yeah, people might move up to take Penix and even possibly Nix in the top 10.
So they're saying the Patriots are going to take Marvin Harrison Jr.
Well, they're at 5, right?
3.
Oh, they're at 3. Oh, see, yeah, I thought they were going to. I thought they were going to try and get a quarterback in that room, but maybe not.
Yeah, in this scenario, the Patriots go the veteran route to fill the need at quarterback, and that gives them Marvin Harrison Jr. They don't like taking quarterbacks in the first round in New England. It's one of their things.
Yeah, well, I mean, but it's been 20 years since they had somebody that had a different mindset. So who knows what they're going to do this year? Like, if you're a brand new coach, brand new GM, maybe you do make a splash play your first year in. It's your best shot at it.
So here's how this one has it. He has the Bears with Williams, Commanders with May.
Yep.
3rd takes Harrison Jr. and Malik Neighbors goes to the Cardinals.
Okay.
Chargers take Joe Alt, offensive tackle, Notre Dame.
Sure.
Jalen Daniels goes to the Giants.
Okay.
Titans take Fasciano, offensive tackle.
Yep. Okay.
McCarthy goes to the Falcons. Odunze goes, he's a Washington guy, goes back to the Bears for the wide receiver.
Okay.
Jets take an offensive tackle from Oregon State. Offensive tackles from Oregon State don't make any sense to me. The first defensive player taken in the draft is by the Vikings, Dallas Turner, an edge rusher.
Okay.
And then more edge rushers come into play here, and that's Jared Verse would be by the Broncos. And Arnold is a cornerback from the Raiders. Latham, an offensive tackle to the Saints. Wiggins, cornerback, Colts. Murphy, Seahawks. Brian Murphy, a defensive tackle from Texas.
Okay.
That's who they got them taken. The Jags are going to take a cornerback from Toledo, Quinion Mitchell. Brock Bowers is a tight end to the Bengals. Rams are taking outside linebacker Jackson Powers Johnson from Oregon. The offensive tackle from Washington, Fultano, goes to the Steelers.
Okay.
And it amazes me that we've stopped with the. So where are we at? Okay, so edge rusher Latu to the Dolphins. Eagles are taking a cornerback from Missouri. I don't like that pick. Wide receiver to go into the Houston Texans, Brian Thomas. Tyler Gunton goes to the Cowboys, offensive tackle. And cornerback, wide receiver, edge, linebacker, offensive tackle, linebacker, wide receiver. That's first round pick, and I did not see what's his face's name in that
Penix or
mix. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if that's how it goes down, but maybe. I could definitely see Nix making it into the second round. I think Penix will get picked in the first, just because of what he showed over this last season, especially in the championship game where he got absolutely brutalized and kept getting up and playing. I think that really helped his stock as far as getting into the first round.
Got it. And let's see. Yeah. I would see if this guy did. Oh, he's got a 3.0. Let's see what his 3.0 says.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. Is there's always a million different versions. Like
but he still has. Oh, all right. It's not. He didn't change it. Everybody's got different ones. 2.0, 1.0.
Exactly. Yeah, like there's ones that will put one out every few days. There's ones that'll put one out once a week, and it's all a crapshoot, right? Really, after pick one, nobody knows. So yeah, I don't know. The mock drafts are always hilarious. Like I put one out a couple of times because I got asked to go on a show, right? And they're like, "Oh, we're going to do mock drafts." I'm like, "All right, I'll make one." So you jump on one of the little sites and you work your way through one, what you think would happen. But inevitably, whatever you thought was going to happen never happens because you never know what the GM is feeling at any given point or who's on their boards, really. Like you can look at need, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything because some GMs go for best available, not necessarily need. So as soon as you start doing it, who knows?
Interesting. A lot of these mock drafts. I mean, I've looked at 3 of them now, and I just didn't talk about the other ones. That just they all do not have Penix in the first round.
Yeah, I mean, and it's entirely possible, but I would be surprised.
I don't know. I think that quarterbacks, like they said, they like to do the run on the quarterbacks. So
exactly. Well, and that's where I think if teams move up to grab them, like if someone moves up to grab JJ, right? Like if they get 4 of those quarterbacks off the board in the top 5, that's where you start to see, a guy like Penix or, Nix. You might see them go ahead of schedule, right? You might see somebody reach to go grab him because they're like, well, we don't want to miss our guy waiting for him to drop to us. If you do end up with, the first couple off the board and the next ones are, a couple of receivers and then an offensive tackle. And then all of a sudden, other teams are like, all right, we can see if he'll drop to us. So it just depends on what the run becomes.
So I personally want offensive and defensive linemen for my first round pick. I do not feel that any cornerback minus the first couple that go are worth it.
Yep.
So I want my cornerbacks to be in the second and third round because I feel like once you get past the first 2 or 3 cornerbacks, there's no more cornerbacks, and they all are. You have your very top tier, then you have your second tier, and those second tier are from late first round to, early third round.
Mm-hmm.
And they are all the same to me, as far as I know.
Yeah.
Again, I don't watch enough college. I know that there's more offense than there is defense.
Yep.
So, and I don't ever hear the names of cornerbacks that really throw it out there. You know what I mean? The last time I heard a name of a cornerback in college was Woodson. You know what I mean? Yeah. And then you hear about like Patrick Surtain Jr. and stuff like that. Like the guys, the second generation NFL players I'm a big fan of. Like if your father's played in the NFL, I like that.
Sure.
Because you grew up in that mentality. So getting to this point was almost like a formality.
Yeah.
And you had to get through it. It's just like watching the Tulsa King when he's talking about going to college. They don't care what you studied. That an employer is looking that you went 4 years to the same place and finished tasks in a reasonable manner, and they feel so that they can trust you to hire you, so that you're not going to screw up their business.
Yeah,
that's what college is about. You know what I mean? So ultimately, that's the same thing with football.
Yeah, because nobody cares about your bachelor's of science degree. Like nobody's gonna.
Underwater basket weaving is never going to be used in the real world.
0 days ever. Yeah, and then when it comes to us, Rob, the Seahawks, they sure look like they are content with Geno and Howell being their 1-2 punch. Because otherwise you wouldn't have gave up what you did to go get Sam Howell. So that makes me think that first pick is either, if they do stay at 16, it'll probably be an edge rusher, or especially because what they did put on the defensive side of the ball is a lot of 1-year contracts. So they have a lot of questions to answer moving forward. So it could either be that, or I could see them actually dropping back, getting a couple of, second rounders. And, because the drop off from a late first round to an early second round really isn't that big once you start looking at guys in the trenches, right? If there are going to be a top 5 D lineman, something like that, sure. But if you're going to be around 20, that's no different than being picked 45, talent wise, typically. So I could see them going edge rusher, maybe a linebacker, something like that. Because it's not like they need a lot of help on the offensive side of the ball. And you got to keep in mind, our new coach is our defensive coordinator. So he's going to want his defense to be every bit of what he just left with the Ravens.
Yeah, I agree with that. I go top 10, 11 to 25, 26 to 50.
Yeah.
Those are your, that top epic tier kind of. And not that I think that the third quarterback is epic tier.
No, that'll be a need-based pick, right? Like that's not he's going to tear the cover off the ball kind of thing. This is, we need a quarterback. The guys we wanted are already gone, and we got to make sure we end up with something.
Right. So, and on that note, we're at the top of the hour. So
absolutely.
Tomorrow, we'll go in a little bit more in depth in this. I'll give ourselves a homework assignment. Tomorrow, we are going to talk about what are our team's needs specifically that we need to go after in the draft.
Yep.
And things that we expect to be resolved in the draft, and things that we will expect to be resolved on June 1st when they do the second level of drops.
Yeah.
And because that's going to be the second level of free agency. So tomorrow, that's what we will go over for both the Seahawks and the Eagles, maybe the Vikings, and maybe the Cowboys as well. But I'm not going to give them their homework assignment because they're not here.
I was going to say, I'm not going to put money on either one of those guys coming in.
Yeah, exactly. So tomorrow, that's what we will talk about, how all the birds will do in the draft. Right. In the meantime, everybody, thank you very much for hanging out with us today, and we will see you guys again tomorrow. Everybody, have a good one.